Acharya, we can now map the human genome and image distant quasars. Why should I look at Vedanta as a science? Isn't it just ancient poetry?
It is the science of sciences, because while your physics investigates the objective this aspect of life, it is a partial view restricted to the waking state. Vedanta uses the tri-basic method, Avastha-Traya, analyzing the totality of experience, waking, dream, and deep sleep to find the invariant reality.
Modern neuroscience says, my consciousness is just a biological byproduct of neural firing. If the hardware, the brain, is destroyed, the software, the I, vanishes.
That is the mono-basic error. Think of a VR simulation. The physics and biological laws inside the game are real only while the headset is on. But your brain is part of the seen object, prameya. Vedanta investigates the user of the headset, the sakshi, who persists whether the simulation is running, waking or dream, or turned off, deep sleep.
If it's a science, it must be about results. The ritualists, the Mimamsakas, say that by performing specific acts, karmas, like a subscription service, I earn a better future life or heavenly pleasure.
Action is kartri tantra. It depends on the effort of the doer and yields time-bound, non-eternal results. But reality is vastu tantra. It depends solely on the entity itself. You don't perform an act to make the sun exist. You simply open your eyes. Vedanta is the intuition of what you eternally are, not what you must become.
My telescope gives me facts about the universe. How can your intuition be more scientific than my lens?
Your lens ignores the knower. If you use a green filter, the universe looks green. Modern science is like studying the image on a screen without examining the projector's light. Vedanta investigates the pure consciousness, sakshi, that makes even the act of seeing through a telescope possible.
If the witness knows my mind, what knows the witness? Don't we need a camera to watch the camera and another camera to watch that forever?
This is where dry logic, shushk tarka, fails. Think of a smartphone screen. The pixels need an external light to be seen, but the sun doesn't need a flashlight to reveal itself. The self is self-luminous, swayam jyoti. It is the intuition that requires no second instrument because it is your very being.
The nihilists or even modern simulation theory proponents argue that everything is relative and ultimately empty or a void.
To say everything is a simulation or everything is void, there must be a witness who is not part of the simulation to perceive the glitch. You cannot have a reflection in a mirror without an original object. That non-void substratum is the Atman.
But the world is constantly changing. Markets crash, empires fall, and stars explode. How can there be an immutable reality in this chaos?
You are seeing the mirage, not the desert. Think of a cinema screen. The action, fire in the movie is full of chaos, but the screen itself never gets hot or burnt. The world is an apparent transformation, vivarta. The cause appears as the effect without ever changing its nature.
Einstein proved that space and time are the fabric of the universe. Your Vedanta says they are restricted. How?
Space and time are concepts of the waking mind. Think of an astronaut sleeping in a deep space capsule. In deep sleep, where is his light years? Where is the curved space? They vanish because they are relative to the waking state. The witness is the measure of time itself, but is not measured by it.
If there is no creation in reality, why does the Veda spend pages describing how God made the world?
This is adhyaropa apavada, superimposition and rescission. When engineers build a bridge, they use temporary wooden frames. Once the bridge, the intuition of unity is firm, the frames of creation and causality are rescinded as mere pedagogical devices.
We have 8 billion people on earth, each with their own mind. Surely there are 8 billion witnesses?
That is looking from the waking viewpoint. Think of an online video game. thousands of avatars, jivas, are fighting and exploring, each with a different view. But is there a separate internet for each player? No. Duality and manyness are within the seen, drishya. The seer, drishtru, is non-dual, like one sun reflecting in a billion dewdrops.
You keep saying deep sleep is the key, but for me, sleep is just a blackout between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. I am non-existent then.
If you were truly non-existent, who would wake up and say, "I didn't know anything"? A security camera continues to record even if the room is dark. You are the consciousness that witnesses the absence of objects in sleep.
My memory of sleep and dream is just a brain function in the waking state. It's just data storage.
Memory requires a consistent witness who was present during the event and is present now. Waking and dream are like two different operating systems, Windows and Mac, on the same computer. They don't overlap, yet the user, the self, knows both. This intuitive recognition, pratyabhigyan, proves you are the substratum of all states.
How can I live in the real world if I think it's an error? I have to pay taxes and drive a car.
This is the distinction of standpoints. An aeronaut knows the earth is a sphere, yet he still uses a flat map to land his plane. You carry on empirical transactions, vyavahara, as a body, but you abide in knowledge, vidya, as the infinite self. This is the science of reality. It doesn't ask you to believe, it asks you to examine the knower. When the knower is realized as the actionless witness, the dream of birth and death ends.
I see. Every science assumes the observer is a limited body. Vedanta is the only inquiry that dares to investigate the scientist.
Any further doubt?
If this is the science of truth, if our senses give us facts every second of our lives, why does Shankara start his masterpiece by calling our natural experience an error?